Hello everyone. It's a little bit of a unique view this morning, but I hope you can bear with me and understand that it's a crazy time right now. Babysitting is just so unpredictable from day to day right now. So I'm here in my daughter's room because it's a quieter place. You can still hear laundry in the background, and I'm sure kids are going to start flying in, but that's just the way it is right now. So I wanted to address a question I got, and this relates to kind of our money management topics, and that is, what do you think is a good budget? What is a good grocery budget amount? Okay, so the question presumes a lot if you just have a across the board answer. Like I said, there are, well, I don't think I ever actually got to say it, but there is financial gurus out there that say $25 per person per week or $100 per person per month. Because sometimes you have 5 weeks and 4 weeks and blah, 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 blah. And I would say baseline, that's what I've tried to do with the $700 a month, is $100 per person per month. But in my circumstances, whatever I make is what we have for our groceries for the next month. So if in June I make $400, then for July's groceries I have $400. And that is what is going to do for our family. If I had unlimited resources and we have a lifestyle where I could just do what was best for our family, we would probably have a higher budget. And by that I mean completely gluten-free, completely dairy-free, higher quality foods, a different type of things. And I know you can be basic and still eat top quality. I know it's that, but it also means a lot of work. So we all learn in different ways, and so it's really hard for me to get on here and say you should do this amount because every family is different. And what $700 would buy for me here is going to buy half as much for somebody, say, in Washington. It's just going to depend on a variable things, and it gets really difficult when you start putting people in these little tiny boxes of, okay, a frugal amount is this amount. And that's kind of why there's a lot of things that I really dislike how our system puts so many things in these little tiny boxes that we're all supposed to fit in. So here's what I would suggest, kind of figuring out what your budget is. Are you making food that works with your family's health and budget? So if you're constantly going over budget each month, there's two questions to ask. One, are you budgeting enough? Are you being realistic with your budget? Two, are you purchasing things that really aren't adding any value to your family on a day-to-day life? If everybody's having ice cream every night of the week, and ice cream is $4 or $5 a tub, at the end of the month, that's what, over $100? It's kind of like people talk about, quit the $5 Starbucks coffee every day, but you're having your ice cream and your chips that equal $8 every day. Out of curiosity, if you bought a $4, $3.99 tub of ice cream to have every night, that's $120 a month. Okay, if you bought chips and snacks to have every single day, and chips are kind of hard to find less than $3 or $4 a bag, or just in my area at least, $120. So these are just a couple of things to consider. So if you've gone over budgets and it's just not being realistic, you were trying to do $100 because you've seen these challenges of $100 extreme budgets for a family of 8. It may have been working for them in their circumstances. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you in your circumstances. I really enjoy those videos that some of these YouTubers put out of extreme budgets, living off of $50 or $75 for, 2 weeks for a large family, whatever. I completely threw that out because I can't remember any of the titles. But when you go and look at them, you think, okay, they bought flour to make their own bread and everything else. That's all wheat. They have a very higher carb meal, and I know at some point my body just cannot sustain that, even eating smaller portions because of the higher carbs. Then I'm starting to miss out on calories and protein and other nutrition. So if you are pre-diabetic, if you are diabetic, if you do need to eat lower carb, a lot of these pastas and rice and all these other things are not going to necessarily work out for you. And eating with special diets is more expensive. So, like I filmed not too long ago, you haven't seen this yet, but our gluten-free bread went up to $8 a loaf. So the reality of eating a gluten-free bread now is kind of null, unless we can find it on sale. Or I can get down to Aldi, which is, an hour's drive from here. Not always going to happen. But if I can get, a $5.99, $6 loaf bread from Aldi, that's still a lot more than these supposed $1.20 loaves of wheat bread, and it's going to go less far because there's less slices in a gluten-free bread. Coming on here and saying, okay, so everybody should have a simple budget of $25 per person per week. And I think realistically that works, but practically I don't have $700 a month right now in anything I make. So, going back to asking those two questions, then you can start to assess what is a realistic budget for your family. I think there are a couple of things that you can do in order to really focus on grocery budgets and things like that. And these also come into play with what your budget is. So I will discuss those right now. First of all, do you have any other sources besides the grocery store where you get your groceries? Do you have a garden? Do you have a mobile food pantry? Do you have a food pantry? Do you have friends that bring over the fatted calf? Things like this. Those are other variables that need to be considered when making a grocery budget. I've had several people say that they don't have mobile food pantries in their area or even food pantries. So that is going to be taken out of the availability that they can do. Other people are on some kind of government supplement for groceries, whether it's WIC, food stamps, or whatever thing else. And I've had people say it doesn't cover enough. So that's another variable to consider. So if you sit down and make a list of, okay, we need 30 meals, 30 dinners, 30 lunches, 30 breakfasts in a day, and break that down into what you will need in a month, that is 150 meals in a month per person. Okay? If you're, for us during the summertime, we don't really eat 3 meals a day, or if we do 3 meals a day, dinner tends to be a very light fare, like a salad or just fruits and popcorn and things like that, because it's just too hot and we're not really that hungry. But for the most part, what it is, it's a brunch and a dinner, because my husband needs to rebuild his calories that he's used up during the day. So that, for us, it's more like 2 meals a day. And so the things that I think about is, okay, I need to provide 60 plus meals and snacks for my family, in addition to making sure that if we have anything special going on, that we have the food for that. Then I think about, okay, now I've got 4 times a week where I go to the mobile food pantry and I'm not sure what I'm going to get. So, but a lot of times those will help cover some of our meals. And so then that I can start adjusting what I need on a week by week basis based on that. The other variables that we have this month, as the garden is producing, is now I have garden produce that I can add to our meals and whatnot. And so that eliminates another thing that I need to purchase at the grocery store. And but they do have a cost that come with them that needs to be figured out. So like going to the mobile food pantry. Um, Yesterday we had to fill up our van. It was just below the halfway mark, and it cost over $60 because the pump shuts off at 60 and we put 60 in, and we still had more that needed to be put in. So it's going to be at least 120 now to put in my car. So that's a variable I need to think about when I'm going to places like the mobile food pantry, or any food pantry for that matter. I need to have I need to have the understanding that now I have the gas that needs to be used in order to do that. Water for the garden. Our water bill is now up because we need to make sure that we are watering our garden. Seed purchasing, again, that's another thing. And then finding ways to preserve it. An extra freezer, extra things like that. Those are different extra costs that come into play with our food. So again, sitting down and saying, okay, this is the budget that you need. It's just got so many considerations. And that's kind of one of the things that you learn as you really start paying attention to your money. Is when you write down, okay, we need, like I said, we're going to go back to that. We need 60 meals plus snacks. That's my basis. Now I start thinking, okay, now I've got gas to go here. I've got water that I've got to pay for, and I've got ways that I need to preserve and use the other food up. That needs to be considered into what I'm thinking about. So writing a list down, trying to keep track, and I am terrible at it, but I'm better than where I was a few years ago at this. So progress is being made, and that's always what you're wanting to do, progress. If each month you're getting better and better about your grocery budget, then you are making progress. If you are starting to question, okay, am I doing everything I can? You need to kind of step back from the picture and think, am I getting the nutrition that our family needs? Because if you're not getting enough nutrition, then more health things start happening, and that's an extra cost to consider. If you aren't getting the right amount of protein, fats, carbs, and vegetables that give those other vitamins that your body needs, if you're not getting enough of that, then you have to start supplementing those with other things like more vitamins, more doctor visits because you're getting more sick, and a possibility of, pre-diabetes, diabetes, and whatnot because your carb count is too high and your body can't process that naturally. I am not a doctor and I'm not going to go into that, but I do think we can all agree that we have a obesity, diabetic issue going on right now because of our higher sugar intake and our higher carb. You okay, Ben? So because of that, there are things that we need to be considering when we're purchasing our food. Lots of variables to consider when making an amount for your family. Every person and family is different. What is on sale, what your family usually eats, some people are kosher and they won't eat the pork and they won't eat, I'm not sure all the stuff that they're not allowed to eat, but that's another thing. Another person may have really allergic reactions to certain foods. Like I just met somebody that can't do apples and carrots. Never heard of this thing, but she really cannot have it, and she's learning what is in the family that also she can't have because of that. So that is going to start playing a huge part in what's available for you to eat. So even if I were to say, okay, the average person should do this, depends on where the average person lives. It depends on what is available right now. Is there any shortages that you're dealing with? Who knows? Okay. I could go on forever and be repetitive about this, so I'll just end this here. So I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you just some basic lines. I'm sure this brings up other questions, and I will try to address that correctly or accurately or helpfully in another video. So if there is any other further questions to this, please leave them down below. So I hope this conversation about realistically what you should have for a grocery budget at least gives you a stepping stone to figuring out what is going to work for your family. I share what works for our family so that there is something visible there to see and then to assess and then to figure out based on this, based on what she is sharing here, based on what I know that I'm dealing with, based on my income, which is different than her income, what realistically can I do to make this work? Okay, so that will be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. That's my heart in all this, that you find useful information. You are encouraged. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching today's money management video. There is a whole playlist that you can see of these right here. And if you haven't subscribed, you can tap my face and it will let you subscribe, and you can see more content coming from me at a later date.